Hey everyone, it's Nurse Dani coming to you live, and we have a really special guest today. This is Janna Coleman, and her and I actually go way back.
We totally do.
And you may know her from her YouTube channel. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my husband and I have a YouTube channel. It's called Janna and Braden Family, and we just try to capture what it's like being young parents with 2 kids and just the ups and downs of all of that, that comes with motherhood and parenthood and all that. So
how did you get into it? How did you decide you wanted to do a YouTube channel? Did it just happen, or was it something you thought a lot about?
So my sister actually has a YouTube channel, Carl and Ginger, and she had been doing it for some years, and she's like, Janna, you're about to have your first baby. You should just start a YouTube channel. And I was like, no way, that would be so weird to film my family and put all that out there. But she ended up giving me a camera for my bridal shower. And I was like...
She was like, this is happening.
Yeah. So pretty much I was like, okay, now I need to use this camera and start vlogging. And so one of the first videos that we actually put out was our birth vlog of me having Talmadge. And from then on, we've just filmed Talmadge's life. And it's just really fun to capture all those memories and just really cool to look back on. And so I'm really glad that we've done it. So
that is so amazing. I mean, honestly, this is how we met. I'm excited to share our story.
I know, me too.
So I was working on labor and delivery, and we got a call saying that someone was coming in, first time mom having contractions, and I was up for a patient. And so I walked into Janna's room, and she immediately recognized me as Nurse Dani. And I always feel bad when people, I kind of felt bad when people knew that I was Nurse Dani, because then I felt bad that I didn't have a birthday cake and balloons too,
Yeah, you're like, hey.
Yeah. But then I was able to care for you, and you just were immediately so sweet and so cute, and I was so excited to be your nurse. And I remember Talmadge's heart tones were not great when you first walked in, and so I was a little bit stressed out, and I thought you were going to have an emergency C-section.
Which was so funny because you made it seem like nothing was going on. I was like, okay, whatever,
that was the
just
point.
do your thing.
Yeah, and in my head I'm like, start an IV, call the doctor, get an anesthesiologist in here, where's the OR? We're running across the hall. I was planning ahead just in case we had to do that, but it ended up turning out, it went really well, and his heart tones kind of stabilized, and everything was able to just be beautiful.
Yeah.
That was like a spiritual experience, honestly.
It was seriously so cool, and you were just such an awesome nurse. You guys, she's just as good of a nurse online as she is in real life. She knew all the right things to say, and I don't know, it was just really, really cool. When she walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like seeing someone famous. You're like, well, what do I even say?
Well, and now I'm with a famous person.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no.
No, it was you guys are really amazing people. And if you guys haven't watched their birth story, you need to, because it truly is incredible. Whenever anyone asks questions on Intermountain Moms about being afraid for labor and delivery, I refer them to your video, because I think it embodies everything that it's all about. Some people get so obsessed about the little details, or afraid that things aren't going to go exactly as planned. And there's a moment when Braden at the end is just crying and talking about how special it all is. And I've even watched it a few times since, because it's so touching, and
so sweet.
It really just shows everyone what it's all about. It really is such a special story.
Oh,
so I feel privileged
so
to have been a part of it.
Thanks. I'm glad you were. It was awesome.
It was truly awesome. And so Talmadge, tell everyone out there, for people who don't know, how old he is, and you've had a baby since.
Yeah, so Talmadge is 2, and now I guess Maya is 6 months old. So for a while we had 2 kids under 2. It was super, super crazy.
But it's a lot.
It's so much fun. Being a mom is so much fun. So hard, but it's so much fun.
So speaking of difficult, I think that it's important to be realistic about what becoming a mom is all about. My intention is never to scare people, but I think it's important to set realistic expectations about the fact that it's difficult. And for anyone out there who hasn't gotten the memo that babies don't sleep through the night and wake up every 2 to 3 hours and cry a lot, wow, if you didn't know that, you're going to be mind blown.
There you go.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't realize is that everything that moms say is so accurate. You don't know how tired you're going to be until you have a baby. or like, you don't know what pain is until you go through contractions. Like, I think that people are always like, yeah, okay, like, I'm sure, but you're probably just being a little dramatic. But no, like, it's for real. It's for real. Yep.
So we were talking a little bit about postpartum depression and anxiety before we started, and you're so sweet and giving and unselfish to share the fact that you struggled with a little bit of that yourself, because I think it's important for people to see that someone like you, someone who's cute and happy and has a great life, can still struggle with postpartum depression and anxiety. Tell us a little bit about what you experienced.
So it was kind of interesting with Talmadge because like we had this great connection at first, like totally bonded and everything. And then like 4 months later, I just started having like weird thoughts and I felt really anxious, and I noticed myself being really like short with people or like with my husband. And I just thought it was like...
You recognized that wasn't you?
Well, at first I thought like motherhood has just changed me. Like I've become like this different person and I didn't recognize myself. And I thought I was going crazy or something. And so as time went on, I started feeling worse and worse. And so finally I went to Google, which is never really the best place to go. But I realized I had a lot of symptoms of like postpartum depression and stuff. So
okay, I'm going to stop you there for a second, because I don't think that that's a bad place to go if you're looking up symptoms for it, because it helps you identify if you need to get help. And sometimes people are thinking that like I need help, but seeing the actual symptoms before their eyes helps them identify it and recognize I do need help. It validates what they've been feeling. And so seeking out help after that is maybe easier to do after you've recognized that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And sometimes it's really scary to like go to your doctor or something because you're scared people are going to judge you or like take your baby away or think you're like psycho or something. But I ended up getting help and I was just so glad that I did, because I mean, within like a week I felt like way better. So...
And you know, the treatment for some people is medication, for some it's therapy, for some it's both. But you also said it was about 4 months down the road, which I think is another important point to bring up, because it doesn't always happen right away. Sometimes it onsets later, like it can start anytime during the baby's first year of life and still be attributed to a postpartum depression mood disorder.
Interesting. That makes sense then. But the weird thing is that I didn't experience depression with Maya, but a lot of anxiety. And I decided not to get medicated with Talmadge just because I was really new to it. And I found other ways to like help with that. But this time I decided to like get on some medication, and it's like made the world of difference. And I think a lot of people are really scared of that. But I think that you, I don't know. What are the words I'm trying to say? You kind of owe it to your family and to yourself to feel mentally well. Yes, some people think that they're being selfish by making certain decisions about caring for themselves, but actually you're not, because you're of no worth to your family when you can't even take care of yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so you mentioned that you found other ways to help with depression. What were those other coping mechanisms? So I actually went and saw a therapist a couple times, and then I started using the oil balance, and those two things combined really, really helped. So, and I ended up not needing anything else after a couple weeks. Don't you kind of think that even just allowing yourself to say the words out loud, I'm struggling, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, is like releasing it out into the universe somehow allows you to drain it from your soul. Yeah, and I think like it helps you realize that it's not you that has changed. You just have kind of a sickness, and it kind of like separates the two a little bit. Like that's not your new identity. Like you're saying, that's not how motherhood has to be. You haven't changed. This has happened, it's short term, and you can be yourself again. Right. And for anyone out there who might be struggling, I think it's important to like realize that there is hope. You don't have to struggle through that. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, definitely get help. Makes a huge difference. Well, thank you so much for being willing to share that very personal piece of your life, because like
15% of the statistics say 15% of mothers struggle with postpartum depression or like some type of mood disorder. So even then, line up everyone that you've ever known that's had a baby, and chances are way more of them have struggled with it than you know.
I think a lot of people are just scared.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about it or admit it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then if someone starts talking about it and they're like, oh my gosh, you had a hard time too. And then it becomes a topic of conversation. You don't feel so isolated. And if you do feel isolated, it adds to feelings of guilt and anxiety and inadequacy and just digs your hole deeper.
Yeah.
Talking about it is so healthy.
Totally. Yeah. And I think like comparing yourselves to other moms is huge too, because, you know, maybe other moms don't deal with it, but you do, and you might feel guilty in that way, but we're all just so different.
We are different, Yeah, just because it was easy for one person, or seemingly so, doesn't mean it is or should be for you. Yeah, I love that. So, sleep training. This is another thing that it's another hot topic for moms. So like we were saying before, babies come home from the hospital and need to eat like every 2 to 3 hours. And that means, and this is like from the beginning of one feeding to the beginning of the next, not from the end of a feeding to the end of the next.
Right.
Yeah, so you may be only getting like 1 hour of sleep here and there. And it's so hard. Right? Like you said, there's no fatigue like being a new mom.
There's no fatigue.
There's no fatigue like that of being a new mom, right?
Right, yeah.
So, how old were your babies when you started sleep training them?
So they were both about 4 to 6 months. I really forget, but around there is when I like really tried to figure it out. But with Talmadge, like right off the bat, he was like sleeping through the night at like 4 months.
Oh, that's great.
It was awesome. But with Maya, she's just more of the type that like wants to like cuddle with me and like just be by me all the time. And so I'm just trying to be more patient with her, because I think that every baby's different.
They are. They come with their own little personalities, and what worked well for one may not work for another.
It's so true.
I had, so we were taking our kids regularly to a place, you know, we'd drop them off for an hour or two. And my daughter just was like, bye mom, you know, we had no problems with her going. And then with our son, when he came along, the people were like, so I know this is your first child, you know, let us give you some pointers on how to make it easier. I'm like, it's not my first, but he's just so different. I will listen to whatever you have to tell me, because they truly are so different.
Funny. It's crazy. Like I always, like once you have a second child and you realize that, I think that you're able to understand other moms better, because I feel like first children can sometimes just be like little angels.
And all you have to focus on is them. So you like pour everything into them. Yeah, and adding another one into the mix kind of like throws you for a loop a little bit.
Yeah, like you're like, I thought I had this down.
Yeah. So how did you sleep train? How have you been working with Maya?
So I don't know. I feel like I will have her good for a couple weeks, and then she'll start teething, and then they'll just all be out the window. But I've tried to come up with a routine so I know when she's tired, because I feel like a big thing is like she'll just be fussy. I'm like, why is she fussy? And then I'm like, oh yeah, she's tired. So like she takes 2 naps a day, so I give her a morning nap and then an afternoon nap. And I think that everyone's schedules are different, but like having some sort of schedule and trying to stick with it is what really makes a difference.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that applies for not just sleeping, but eating and everything in general. Kids crave structure and routine, even though they resist it sometimes. They really need it and react well to it overall.
Right, yeah. So with Maya, I've just been trying to like cuddle her and sing her a song for a little bit, because she's kind of the type that just takes longer to like wind down. So I'll just like snuggle her for a little bit, and then I'll actually, this is kind of, I don't know if this is weird, but I'll put her in her bed and I'll give her a little toy to play with, and she'll like just play with it and then just like slowly like fall asleep. And that's something that's worked.
Then she's learning how to self-soothe. Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is teaching them to go to sleep without help from you. So that's great.
So slowly we'll take away her toy.
Hey, it works. So how did you come up with their names? Talmadge and Maya.
Oh, okay. So, that's a good question. They're both just names that kind of just came to me when I was pregnant. I think I had like an acquaintance in high school named Talmadge, and I never really thought twice about it till I was pregnant. And then it was like 2:00 in the morning. I was like, Braden, what do you think about Talmadge? And he's like, yeah, I kind of like that. And then from then on, we were set.
It stuck.
Yeah, it just stuck. Same with Maya. So
they had their own name and identity inside of you. You didn't have to like try the name on after they were born.
I guess for Maya, I don't know, naming a girl was harder for me. But yeah, we kind of just knew their names before they were born. So
when I was teaching prenatal classes, I always told everyone they at least needed to have a short list of names at the hospital. And I always like to write them down on the whiteboard, and we could like debate spellings and everything. And it like becomes real in that setting when you see the name and you think, I'm about to meet them. Does that really fit? Does it feel right? And one time, so this was before cell phones, before everyone had cell phones, but a couple was coming for their 39-week induction, and they were like, do you have a name book? And we did actually. We had a book, like a book of 10,000 names. So I went and grabbed it and I gave it to him, and I was jokingly like, so what have you guys talked about for the last 9 months? And they looked at each other and they're like, that's just it. We haven't talked about it because every time we try, we fight. So now we're gonna duke this out while she's in labor. That's what the dad said.
Duke it out.
Yeah. So that's not what I would recommend.
That's so funny. I know. Well, with Maya, we spent an extra hour in the hospital just trying to figure out how to spell her name.
Did you?
We asked all the nurses, all of our family members, which wasn't really a good idea.
Everyone had their own opinions.
Yeah.
So what did you land on?
M-Y-A.
See, it says Maya to me.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Because some people call it Mia, but I think that says Maya. So that's why I went with that.
That's such a pretty name. I love it.
Thanks.
So we have a couple of questions that have come in throughout the week on Facebook that people would like to know.
Okay.
The first one is from Family Vloggers Fan Account. Janna, what is something you look forward to doing with your kids when they're older?
Let's see. I think that it is really fun. There's so many different things that I think would be so much fun. But I'm excited to like go camping with my kids. And I think I'm just excited to be able to like go on more vacations with them, because it's just so hard now with their sleeping.
When they're little.
Yeah, so I'm excited to go on more vacations, I think, when they're older.
Yeah, those are fun family memories to make.
Yeah.
We're huge campers too. We actually have 2 trips planned every month for this summer.
No way.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And our kids love it. They talk about camping like they're going to Disneyland.
Are you serious?
They seriously love it. And it's fun because there's nothing else to do. There are no cell phones, no distractions.
Just you and
we play games, we go on hikes, we cook food together, sit around the fire. There's nothing better than that.
Right, just like quality time with each other. I think that it is a lot of work to go camping now.
Amen, sister. That's why we got a trailer.
Hey, there you go.
Makes it a little bit easier, yeah.
Last time we went camping, it was like pouring rain and we had like an inch of water in our tent.
That does not sound fun.
No, it wasn't really fun.
So Mother's Day is this weekend, right? And my husband has been wanting to go camping forever, and one of our favorite campgrounds opens this weekend. And so he's like, let's go camping on, what is it going to be, like May 12th or something? And I'm like, that's Mother's Day weekend. Is that what I want to do? And
yeah, is that what I want to do?
That's what you want to do, right? Because he knows I love camping. I'm like, well, Friday and Saturday, but you're going to cook me dinner on Sunday at home.
Yeah,
so
that's right. You can't miss out on that.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, we may go camping. We'll see.
That's fun.
Okay. There's a couple of other questions so we can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Would you rather Netflix binge or read a good book?
Netflix binge.
And what are some of your favorite shows?
I like Parenthood. Have you watched that one?
I have watched a couple of episodes. That is funny.
Yeah, it kind of takes a little while to get into it. We like what else do we like? New Girl. It's a good one.
That's funny.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, binge watching. There is there's really nothing quite like that, right? It's some good food.
I don't see you as a binge watching type of person.
Oh, well, like over Christmas vacation and times when we're home all together, me and my husband and my kids, we do like to do that.
Yeah.
Or we'll pull out like old movies. Like, okay, so our kids have never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't like Netflix. We Netflix binged Stranger Things.
Oh, okay, that's a good one too.
Yeah, we actually watched part of it in our cabin. Like, it was storming. It was fun binge watching.
That is super fun.
Yeah,
and your kids are at the perfect ages.
We let them watch one episode and then we realized it wasn't quite for kids. So we sent them somewhere else with all the cousins.
Just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, they like Lord of the Rings, and we just like watched those one after another, and we were all hooked. We liked that. Yeah.
That's fun.
Okay, so what's your favorite brand of diapers?
So with Talmadge, we always bought Pampers because we always like had coupons for them. But then we were on a vacation and I just bought like the Comfort brand. It's like the cheapest brand of Kroger, and they're awesome. They are like just as good as Huggies or Pampers or anything, and there's really good coupons. My husband and I are all about coupons and
saving money, right?
Especially on diapers, because they literally go in the trash.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And you feel like you get a raise every time a child gets out of diapers because you don't have to buy them anymore.
I'm excited for that feeling. I haven't got there yet.
Our Costco trips got a lot cheaper after they were potty trained.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so are you a soda drinker?
Every once in a while. Not really, though.
Not really? When you do
really
like to indulge,
like
what do you like?
I like Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
For sure. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, Diet Coke all the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a nurse thing.
I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know why. I've liked it all my life, but now I don't even like it because of the caffeine. When I work nights, it would do nothing to keep me up. It's just that burn with food. It's delicious.
It's so good. Like the fizzy cold with ice. So good.
Yeah, it really is. What is your favorite treat?
Oh, ice cream.
Ice cream, what kind?
Any kind. Store-bought and homemade. That's what my dad always says.
Homemade. That homemade ice cream is yummy.
Yeah, it's really good.
That. Okay, so do your babies take after you or your husband more?
Talmadge takes more after Braden, and Maya takes more after me, from what we've noticed so far. Talmadge is like the go-getter, like always busy, just like Braden and Maya is just like, let's just cuddle. And
yeah, like you said, she just likes to sit there and enjoy some snuggle time. That's sweet. I think as kids grow too, you start to see reflections of both of you at different stages in their lives, both in their personality and how they look. Like,
interesting.
I've noticed that I think my daughter thankfully got the best of my husband and the best of me. So she's like all wrapped up in a cute little package, two of us together. You know?
That's so fun. I bet she's gorgeous.
She is a very, very sweet, beautiful girl. Yeah, I'm a lucky mama.
It's so fun.
Okay, what did you think the most uncomfortable part of being pregnant was?
Morning sickness, all the way. With both of my kids, I lost like 20 pounds.
Oh, you did? You've got nothing to lose.
It was awful.
Oh my goodness.
Like a cracker and then I'd throw it up. That's all. Yep. So I can relate to you moms that get morning sickness. It's no fun.
How long did it last? Like the whole pregnancy?
No, thankfully no.
First trimester?
Like 20 weeks.
20 weeks.
Yeah. So it's really hard to want to have another baby.
Yeah, you have to like build up to it, right?
Yeah, because you just feel so bad for neglecting your little ones when you're sick, but it's like, you want some Cheerios?
Yeah, I know, right? It's a game changer. The first time you're pregnant, you can just lay on the couch all the time and no one seems to notice. But then after you've already had a baby before and you have to take care of someone else, it is so much harder.
It is so hard. And like fixing food for Talmadge, I was just like gagging the whole time and like, oh, it's awful.
What were the worst aversions that you had to food?
Anything with flavor, pretty much. I would just like chew on a rice cake because like anything else with flavor or smell would gross me out.
That is awful.
Did you get morning sickness?
Yes.
Oh, so that is.
I actually lived to go to work because, only because we have the yummy pebble ice that all pregnant women can have when they're in labor. and we could add flavor to it. So like tiger's blood, orange, lime, cherry, coconut, strawberry, whatever the flavor of the year is. And so I'd go to work and I'd get my cup and I'd put a few pumps of lime in it and suck on it all day and need some more ice. More ice, you know.
That's so bad. I was doing hair when I was pregnant with Talmadge. And, you know, so you obviously like have to be upbeat and like talk to people. So I'd be like, okay, just a minute. And I'd like run and go throw up. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm back.
But you got really good at hiding it. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was pretty good at, probably you too. You're like, oh, man, you have to deal with crazy stuff as a nurse too.
There were times when I had to just tell him, I am pregnant. And I'm so sorry, I just dry heaved. Really, I'm sorry.
That's so funny. Oh my
gosh. Okay, let's see. What was a funny welcome to motherhood moment or story that you've had?
Ooh,
like an eye opener or something.
An eye opener. I was gonna say like getting no sleep, but I guess we've already talked about that because that's like legit. I mean, like you have never felt tiredness until you have a baby and you're like, holy smokes. You know, I think it's just like the normal things like being pooped all over. Like you really don't realize like how much your baby can poop. But
and you never have cared more about poop and pee in your entire life than you do when you're a mom.
Yeah, it's true. So I guess I'd say that.
Yeah. What about fighting? Do your kids fight yet? Mine is still really young, but is there any tension between them ever?
Talmadge is pretty crazy and wild. And so he thinks it's fun to ride her and like, he says, ride. And I'm like, get off your sister. Or like, he's pretty rough with her, but she's learned to like, he'll put his head closer and she'll like grab his hair and like, just like pull it.
He's going to learn the hard way, huh?
But he thinks it's so funny.
Oh, he goes back for more.
Yeah. So he just laughs or she'll like grab his face and then they're both just like laughing together. So we could have some crazy wrestling matches in the future.
Oh, sounds like it.
But at least they're not crying.
That's right. That's right. The sounds of kids laughing. However, I have to say, my daughter has this very specific giggle. When she's doing that, I know that they're doing something bad.
Really?
Yeah. So my husband and I will literally look at each other and be like, what are they doing? And they're 6 and 10. Because she's usually told him to do something bad and she's laughing at him while he does it. And so, yeah.
I'm going to have to look out for cues like that then.
Yeah. Very mischievous giggles. I asked the question about fighting because I remember distinctly my husband and I were driving home from the store once when our son was like close to a year and so our daughter was close to 5. And the car was where the fights first started.
Oh, I'm sure. Because
like they could touch each other but not go anywhere else, right? So we said to each other, we're like, I wonder, you know, like everyone says the hardest part about parenting is like the kids fighting. When is that going to start? And then like shortly after, he reached over and was like grabbing her and she's like, Mom, he's touching me. And I'm like, did that literally just get said in our car? Oh, that thing is real.
No kidding. Yeah. You jinxed yourself.
I know.
You're like, my babies are so perfect.
I know.
You're like, what is everyone talking about?
I know. They're great. And it's been downhill ever since then.
Oh gosh. I'm not excited for that.
They're really good friends too, right? They're frenemies. I think that's what siblings are, frenemies. Okay, so what is a random fact about you that you are willing to share with everyone?
Okay. When I was little, I used to get really mad and I would just pass out. Like,
really?
Half the time I wouldn't even cry. I would just and then just like pass out. And my mom, she was pretty worried about it at first.
Yeah, can you imagine if your kids did that?
I would be freaked out. But like her friends would be holding me and I would just like pass out. And she's like, it's okay, she'll wake up.
This is commonplace in our house, don't worry.
But then when I would like still be asleep, all my siblings would like stand over and be like, Janna, hi. And I would just wake up and be like, hi.
Everyone loves me.
Yeah, and everything was fine. It was like a reset button.
How funny is that? Has that happened as an adult at all?
No, not at all. I mean, I've definitely learned to control my temper, I guess, because I don't do that. But yeah, up until I was like 6 or 7. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of weird. Do you know what that would be?
coping mechanism. Some kids do that, or
Really?
you know, like there's little kids who hold their breath, you know, and a lot of times, like with the fainting thing, I don't really know.
Have you heard of it before?
Yeah, well, not like from a medical standpoint, but I've had friends with kids who have done that before. Or like my sister, anytime she like stubs her toe, she just passes out.
Nuh-uh.
It's like her body's way of not dealing with pain at all. So some people just do that. It's like everything just shuts down for a minute.
Huh.
Yeah. But I don't think, I mean, it's kind of scary because you don't know where you're going to be when it happens, or where your kids might be. You don't want them to hit their head, or, you know, so it can be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I think it was pretty nerve-wracking for my mom to deal with, so I feel bad for that. I'm hoping karma doesn't get me with that one.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, so far we're good. So,
well, is there anything else that you would like Intermountain Moms viewers to know about you? There's a lot out there about you on your YouTube channel. People should check you out, but is there anything else that you'd like to tell people about you or your family?
We just really like to connect with people, and I've just really loved vlogging because we've really been able to like connect with so many people over the world. And I think that's my top favorite thing about it all, is just like having all these different connections with people. And I get to talk to moms in the comments of our videos all the time. Or on Instagram, you can also follow me on there. I try to do stories a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I think that we went over a lot, so.
You guys are definitely a force for good in the world.
Oh, thanks.
So anyone who watches you guys will be uplifted.
Thanks.
She's just sweet. Of course, you can tell by listening to her today. Thank you so much for being with us, Janna.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's so fun.
Awesome.
We get to have reunions every now and then when we do things like this. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, I never thought that I'd see my nurse this much.
I know, right? I've never gotten to see a patient as much in the past.
Yeah.
And now I consider you a good friend.
Oh, you too. It's been so much fun working with you.
Yeah, you too, Janna. If anyone wants to watch your YouTube channel, what is it called?
The Janna and Braden Family. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Janna Coleman. So, yeah.
Awesome. And of course, you guys know where to find me if you have any questions. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.